That summer in 2022 felt like a juncture, a point of intersection between the bygone and the yet to come. It began with an unexpected get-together with my former colleagues from Le Cordon Bleu, right here in the bustling heart of Seoul. I marveled at the prospects of the reunion, and as the day approached, the delicious anticipation was comparable to the feeling of a perfectly proved dough ready to hit the oven. You know, sometimes it's the simplest of occasions that rekindle the most profound memories. As I walked into the cozy, dimly lit restaurant, greeted by a kaleidoscope of familiar faces and a clinking symphony of cutlery and glass, a rush of nostalgia swept over me. For a moment, time folded in on itself, bridging the here and now with a collection of beautifully indelible days in Paris. Their faces lit up with recognition, as together we recreated the old magic. We swapped stories, reminisced about our days of labor in the culinary school's kitchen and the confluence of ambition, dreams, and sleepless nights. Around the table, laughter rang out like an old melody, and triumphs and tribulations were shared with the tastiest bite of tartare and the smoothest sip of soju. The evening was teeming with vibrant conversations, wistful remembrances, and inherent inspirations, adding fresh notes to our unfolding symphony of dreams. Isn't it amazing how the same dance of destiny thrillingly paints different canvases for everyone? I listened intently as they narrated their journeys, each unfolding in countries far from here, their words spontaneously flavoring the air with an exotic blend of adventures and lessons. I, too, shared my journey, threading chapters from working in my childhood bakery in Busan and learning life lessons in Paris, to finally assembling culinary wonders in Seoul. The essence of all our stories was the same, each of us, measured and kneaded by journey, on our individual and collective pursuit of passion. Looking around the table, I could see it, the shared respect and mutual acknowledgement. We were different yet the same, each governed by our obsession for culinary arts, tempered with an intrinsic patience and tenacity that this profession demands. Stepping out of the cocoon of conformity, venturing into the unknown, we had chosen a path less taken but absolutely loved. Our stories, like our signature dishes, were distinct, each infused with a unique mix of flavors and experiences, setting us apart yet binding us together. Through the evening, over delectable dishes and heartfelt conversations, we nourished our souls as much as our appetites. As we said our goodbyes, I realized how food often serves as a metaphor for life. The amalgamation of distinct flavors, textures, and aromas creating an eternally cherished experience, much like a medley of trials, tribulations, and triumphs, interweaving to form a meaningful life. As I walked back home, under the blanket of the Seoul night, I couldn't help but reflect on my journey, and how each step had been a crucial ingredient in shaping who I am today. The hustle and bustle of the restaurant in Itaewon always had a way of making me feel at home. It was summer of 2023, and I remember the weather outside sizzling hot, but the kitchen was even hotter. Amidst the sizzle of pans, the cracking of eggs, and the clattering of cutlery, that's how we welcomed the newest member in our little culinary fortress. Do you remember your first day at your job? It's kind of chaotic, right? Trying to fit into the new ambience, feeling a bit out of place and still trying to put on that reassuring smile while your heart is pounding hard against your ribs. That's how Minsu, our new recruit, looked on his first day. The effervescence of the kitchen can be intimidating to a fresher, so I made it a point to spend some time with him at the start of his shift. I remember sharing how my early days in the restaurant served me a rich platter of experiences, some difficult to swallow, some sweet, but each exactly what I needed to mature as a person. There's always something bubbling and brewing around here, I told him. Just like a good old pot of marinara, sometimes it's quiet, other times it's all splutter and steam, but eventually it all blends together to create something wonderful. I shared stories of those 4 a.m. prep times at the bakery in Busan, tossing pizzas up in the air till my arms ached, in Paris, and scribbling down notes at Le Cordon Bleu. As I strolled down memory lane, Minsu's eyes were twinkling with a mix of amazement and apprehension, and it reminded me of myself on my first day at the family bakery. The fear, the excitement, the tremendous weight of responsibility, and most importantly, the passion stirring in his young heart. Just like kneading dough, I believe good guidance has to be deliberate and measured. Direction without dominance, advice without overbearing instruction. I remember noticing him observing attentively as I showed how to knead pizza dough just right. The intricacies of blooming yeast, the right water-to-flour ratio, the delicate balance of salt and oil. He listened intently with a fervor that was so admirable, With each passing day, I saw Minsu evolve into a fine cook. The intensity in his eyes, the rigor in his motions, the eagerness to learn. It all reminded me so much of my own journey. As I watch him stir, whisk, blend, and pour, I realize my story has helped him acknowledge the rush of his journey and the beauty that awaits him in the future. And that, you know what's funny, ultimately made me realize the beauty of my own journey, all over again. You know, it's amazing how teaching someone else can often end up teaching you a thing or two about yourself. Isn't it? As the heat of the summer rolled on, it led me to another adventure that played a pivotal role in shaping my experiences. I found myself in the company of my friend Hyun one fine late August morning. Hyun, an avid diver with her wide-eyed tales of the ocean's profundities, had inspired me to try scuba diving. "Hyun, there's a whole different world under there," she would often say with a glint in her eyes. So I decided to take the leap, or should I say, the dive. The day of the dive, as we approached the sparkling azure waters, a swirl of emotions gripped my heart. Recalling my youthful days playing football at the beach, the anticipation of the unknown, and the calming assurance of the waves feeling like home, it was a unique concoction of feelings. With the equipment tugged on and safety instructions ringing in my ears, I walked into the sea, each step deeper amplifying my heartbeat. And then there was the moment where I plunged underwater, leaving behind the surface, the light, the noise. It was a revelation, the tranquility, the palette of blues, the harmonious hum of the vast ocean. It was as though I had stepped into a completely new dimension. The beautiful silence underwater spoke volumes, offering a stark contrast to the convivial clamor of the kitchen back at the restaurant. As I swam amidst colorful schools of fish, with gentle sea creatures brushing past me, the restaurant rush seemed like a distant reality. Here, under the sea, timing was not about plating dishes and turning tables, but about the rhythmic orchestration of marine life. Diving deep, I discovered parts of myself that I hadn't tapped into before, aspects that were often overshadowed by the boisterous fanfare of my culinary adventures. I found my peace, my sense of wonder, and an appreciation for life in its purest forms. Unplugged from my routine, the ocean's calm spread within me, mirroring my own inner tranquility that I seldom acknowledged in my professional life. Taking a detour and exploring an unfamiliar path created this beautiful segue from my regular life. The scuba diving experience added a new color to my palette, brightening up the canvas of my journey. My first scuba diving made me realize, putting oneself out there, despite the fears and trepidations, often rewards with unique experiences and the most beautiful memories. And just like that, my life musical gained another note, another melody, which hums its tune even today. Looking back, it's amusing to reflect how my busy hours in the restaurant kitchen contrasted sharply against the solitude of the underwater world. The comforting sounds of sizzling pans and chatter, the comforting dance of chefs gliding past each other, transforming ingredients into culinary artistry, seemed a world away from the serenity of the ocean. It was as if I had unwittingly stashed away the bustling world of stainless steel, sharp knives, and oven heat to slip into the deep tranquility of the cool ocean, illuminated in an exhilarating mix of blues and turquoise. It wasn't just the temperature change, though that was a welcome shift from the clamor of the kitchen, but the rhythm of it too. The pace of life below the surface seemed to operate on an utterly different timeline, unhurried and tranquil, far removed from the ticking clocks dictating the service times of a busy restaurant. As chefs, we were constantly racing against the clock, but underwater, time seemed to possess a stillness, reminding me of the infinite patience of the universe. The inhabitants of the sea, swimming in schools or gliding over the sandy bottom, seemed to adhere to a slower, more deliberate rhythm of life. Could it be that I had discovered a new sense of time management from this serene dwelling? I chuckled at this thought, the sound bubbling up through my regulator, sending a stream of bubbles towards the surface, disrupting the silence of the deep. Caught in the faint current, I found myself reaching out to a playful sea turtle, its delicate movements guiding me into a slow ballet, and in that graceful fluency, I was reminded of the harmonious frenzy in the kitchen. It brought to mind the unspoken understanding between the chefs, their movements as precise and well-timed as a meticulously rehearsed dance. Only here, there were no recipes or dinner services to follow. Although I could merely convey my wonderment through the quiet bubbles floating upwards towards the surface, I observed, relished, and absorbed the serene tranquility of diving. The unique beauty of the underwater world began to soften the rambunctiousness of my work life, finding its way into my culinary creations and personal interactions. This isn't to say I wished for the restaurant kitchen to adopt the turtle's pace. Rather, this new perspective helped me appreciate the rhythm of both environments. Sometimes, perhaps, it isn't about rushing forward but slowing down, to not just taste but savor, not just to look but to see, and not merely to cook, but to craft the labor of love that is food. The adventure of my heart, however, was not confined to the ecstatic realms of sea exploration. In the whirlwind of September 2023, my relationship with the Italian restaurant in Itaewon came to a climax. My family away from home, the loving ecosystem we had cultivated within the hustle and bustle of the restaurant kitchen, was about to experience a shift. That's when I decided to step away from the charcoal ovens and hand-tossed pasta to embark on a new journey. As I announced my departure, I was washed over with a stampede of mixed emotions, comparable only to the surge of ocean currents I had recently conquered. I imagined the final buzz of the timer, the last spritz of olive oil on my signature pasta, the ultimate pop of the evening service's first wine bottle. The realization that it was time to say arrivederci carried an uncanny echo of that summer evening when I boarded the plane to leave Paris behind. What lies in my path remained the unknown, my future a restaurant menu I was yet to craft. My heart pounded like a tenderized steak, yet a profound sense of pride covered me like a freshly baked focaccia. My tenure at the Italian restaurant wasn't just a chapter of my life, but a cherished recipe added to my culinary repertoire. It was the crucible in which I was tempered and came out like a well-crafted chef's table. I wasn't merely leaving a job but a family. The kitchen was my playground, my battlefield, my church. It was where I celebrated, sought solace, found inspiration, and loved profoundly. The scent of garlic sizzling in olive oil, the sound of knives cutting through crisp vegetables, the sight of pristine white plates transformed into canvases of edible art. These sensations were imprinted in my soul, a silent testimony to my growth. Soon, the cheery jingle of the restaurant door and the expansive yet intimate kitchen would cease to greet me every day. Yet my spirit held no remorse, only gratitude for such tremendous experiences and irreplaceable connections. Life was once again offering me a chance to knead fresh dough from scratch, and all I had to do was roll up my sleeves and leap forward, even as I bid farewell to my second home. Seoul. The city that had become my home over the past few years was about to witness my departure from a place that meant so much to me. As I draped myself in the crisp white chef's uniform for the last time, I felt the material, the neatly embroidered name tag. It suddenly felt all too real. Running my fingers along the countertop, watching the ovens still humming in serenity and the pots and pans hanging in organized chaos, I was intertwined with nostalgia, as if walking through a memory. Entrusted in me was not merely the duty of cooking, but a spiritual connection, a rhythm that resonated with my being. Every slurp of the pasta meant a silent recognition of my craftsmanship. Every mouthful of zesty tomato sauce was a sublime blend of my dedication and meticulousness. As I looked around the kitchen that evening, I realized how the four walls had witnessed my radiant victories and quiet failures, been a silent spectator to my culinary dance of passion and precision. This wasn't a mere kitchen. It was a stage where I performed each day, serving smiles and satiating souls with my preparation. The splendid days of rigorous practice, the vibrant voices of contented customers, the sense of a shared goal with my team. Each fragment composed the symphony of my Italian kitchen saga. I was not losing a sanctuary, rather preserving its memory like a cherished heirloom within the kitchen of my heart. Granite counters had borne witnessing to countless masterpieces, crafted from humble ingredients, the trusted ally that held my elbow when my arms tired from kneading the dough, the silent companion cradling erections of my flavors in their stone-cold surface. It was here that I learned the language of food, an exchange transcending words, the silent conversation between the chef and the eater, a dialogue harmonized in the symphony of flavors. I saw myself in every sizzling pan and bubbling pot, their music echoing the song of my journey. The din of the kitchens, the chorus of bustling pots and pans, the orchestra of sizzling sauté and bubbling broths, all played an opera bearing notes of my culinary journey. Underneath the chef hat, a part of me was linked to the very essence of this place. There was a sense of belonging, a rhythm that synced perfectly with my heartbeat. Speaking through the language of my creations, I had managed to kindle a spark in the hearts of the customers, making them feel at home. Gratitude was a flavor that seemed to lace the evening air, salty like the tears welling up within me yet subtly sweet, painting the everyday scenes with hues of a cherished memory. Savoring one last glimpse at the kitchen that night, my bastion of dreams and drive, I said my silent goodbye to the stage that had fueled, nurtured, and loved the chef in me. Just as the sun began to melt into the western mountains, casting a warm orange glow over the city of Seoul, I found myself surrounded by familiar faces. The Italian restaurant that had been more than a place of work for me had come alive in a different way, cradled in the hum of a gentle celebration. We had all gathered there, each one of us lost in a bittersweet harmony of farewells and joy, our hearts brimming with collected experiences. The night echoed with topsy-turvy laughter, the clink of glasses toasting to the past and the future, an infectious energy pulsating from each soul to share the camaraderie. The walls, which once echoed with orders and focused culinary orchestration, were now humming with the comfort of shared stories over shared food, soft shadows painting reminiscent memories in the corners of the room. As I looked around the room, I saw faces that were masks of emotions, teary-eyed yet wearing dazzling smiles. All of us shared chunks of unforgettable moments in our hearts, forged through fires of trials and sweet triumphs. Tonight we were not just co-workers sharing a common workspace, but a close-knit community that had weathered storms, celebrated victories, and blossomed with unwavering teamwork and morale. Faces that had greeted me with warm smiles every morning now looked back at me with affection and pride. I saw Gina conversing animatedly with the new co-worker, a friend whose culinary journey I had been a part of, and it dawned on me just how deeply this group of passionate cooks had become a part of my life. While my journey was taking its course in another direction, a part of me would always remain here, simmering in the sauce of memories we had prepared through months of cooking our dreams together. Each person had a role in stirring this flavorful broth of memories, and it had the taste of strong coffee, the sweetness of vanilla, the warmth of cinnamon, the laughter of chili flakes. As the night progressed into the candle-singed end, the air hung heavy with emotion. Yet, in that moment, I realized that endings are not truly the end. They are rather pauses, breaths to take stock of what has been, what is, and what could be. This was not a definite goodbye to my cherished kitchen, but a see you soon, etched into the aromas of the Italian recipes that bonded us. The night was a mosaic of memories and dreams, of closing one chapter while cherishing the moments that had turned its pages. As the last light went off in the restaurant, I left with a heart full, grateful for all that this kitchen had taught me, and excitingly expectant of my future culinary expeditions. I was taking with me more than just skills, but the echoes of bonding and laughter that transformed an ordinary kitchen into an extraordinary haven. After all, a restaurant is not just bricks and mortar, it's the people that breathe life into it.